Hello, friends. Welcome back. July 24th, 2022, Virtual Strangers, episode 160. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, I have a dilemma, brother. Every time I watch that intro, it reminds me that I've been meaning to go back through the Gen 1 catalog and hit all the bangers one more time before Gen 2 officially arrives early next year. But with that said, man, with all the new stuff coming out, who has the time to go back and play old games? Like, what am I supposed to do here, man?
I don't know. Do it all. Quit your job. You know, this is the funny thing. You haven't even tried Cyberpunk in VR, and that thing is phenomenal. Like, I couldn't for a game that I was like, I'm not even gonna try playing in VR. I've now got a copy of PS or PlayStation 5 that I'll probably never touch because I want to go into the Cyberpunk 2077.
So yeah, so not only do we have this dilemma of, you know, Gen 1 bangers versus new releases, which keep coming, that doesn't even factor in the mods, which we just kicked off another mod month, the third one this year. We did Red Dead 2 last week. We're going to do Stray this week as it's a new release and people are raving about it. So tune in on Wednesday for that. But yeah, man, like there's so many mods now and so many different methods to inject these, you know, big traditional games into VR. I'm starting to think that maybe we should just forget about the mod month concept and just make mods like a running thing and just try to hit one every week or hit one most weeks, unless we have like a super busy week of new releases.
I agree. You know, and this is the funny thing. You were even saying that you had forgotten how good a flat game looks in 3D, right? Like outside of, you know, full VR and, you know, that type of stuff. But just looking at a screen that's in 3D, some of these games look phenomenal, right? It's almost like you would rather play it that way than any other way. And I agree. Maybe we make it like a permanent thing.
Yeah, it takes about 5 minutes to get used to when you're playing on a 3D virtual screen as opposed to a full VR mod. But really the only thing is you got to get used to moving the camera manually. In VR, you're used to just being able to look around. And when you're playing these games with a gamepad, you got to use the sticks. But besides that, I mean, it's nearly as immersive. I mean, the screens are typically so big, they take your whole field of view anyway. So as soon as you get used to that kind of turning your head, not being there anymore, you're off to the races. It's almost as immersive as a native VR game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get to be a cat in this particular instance. Who doesn't want to be a cat? You know what I mean?
That's right. I put a couple hours into Stray last night. Had fun with it. Going to do a few more hours before Wednesday gets here. So again, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll be notified when we get ready to go live. Dude, we got a long to-do list today and not much time to get it in, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. You know who else has a long to-do list and actually will make time to get it in?
My mom!
She'll make plenty of time.
She always makes time, bro.
Yeah.
Always.
She does.
Anyway, right off the top here, let's get a few things out of the way real quick because we are going to be kind of pushing a little bit today to not linger too long. I am on mandatory overtime at work now, which means I have 2 less hours between now and when I got to be at work. First of all, I want to remind everyone to get your free shit. Like the PS Plus titles for this month are pretty cool. They have Crash Bandicoot. They have the Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan, both included with the base tier of PlayStation Plus. So if you haven't already, you might want to grab those before the month switches over. Those are two pretty high profile titles.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep forgetting, Wes. I need to do it.
Do it today.
Yeah.
Also, I want to remind everyone that the Steam VR Fest ends tomorrow. So if you haven't had a chance to get in there and check out all those demos, there's a ton of them. Like I haven't even been able to get in and play all the stuff I want to play. Anyway, it's last call on that stuff. If you want to try out Undead Citadel or Requisition or Tracery of Fate or Tomb Explorer VR or any of this stuff we talked about last week or any of the things that we didn't talk about, today's the day. So immediately after tonight's show ends, make sure that you get on there and get those demos in before it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Radio Run says sucks about trying to get other sons to work, and Windows 12 is or not Windows 12, I guess the 12th gen. I'm not going to take too much time because we don't have time. But if you're having issues with, or I guess if you have from other sons and you have a 12th gen processor, please try to go into it and tell me if it lets you go into it, because I think that's the issue. Done.
Would it be helpful, Ruuts, if I were to go into it? I think mine's 11th gen, and just to see if it works for me, would that information help you at all?
Well, that would definitely, at least, the more people that we have confirm, or, you know what I mean? If you go in and it plays fine, I think it's got to be the 12th gen. That's the only thing. I mean, the Radio and Runt and I both have in common. He's using Windows 10. I'm using Windows 11, and we're both using 3080s. So, I don't know what else could be causing it to not open. It opens up, and then 10 seconds later, it closes itself. It's not conflicting with antivirus or the firewall or anything. So I don't know.
So so we know it's not firewall. Now that's odd. I had some stuff like this with Fallout 4 too, and it was part of like a redistributables package I had to reinstall for it. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it was something to do with my DirectX installation. I had to re-download some stuff from Windows Update to fix it, actually.
Okay. So I would definitely, I want to get in there. I'd like to get in there with you and Radio Runt and MASH. And it's a 3-person game, but, it's so cool. It's FTL and VR. So.
Yeah. See, I've never played it. Not at all. There's another one of these Gen 1 games I never got around to.
Yeah, it's super cool. Super hard.
You know who loves it when it's super hard, right?
My mom.
It's also super long. You know who loves it when it's super long?
My mom.
Simplex asks, what are the best bangers to try except for Hubris? Well, right off the top, I'd say Undead Citadel. Get in there and check that one out for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else, Ruuts? What do you think?
I don't know. I was just thinking I need to get in there if we're going to talk about anything on the next episode. I got less than a day.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I haven't had time to get back into any of those things. I've done some Stray. Stray's pretty much all I've played, other than I did another session in Red Dead, which was awesome.
Yeah,
like
that game is so good.
Finally, Ruuts, the snow has melted. We're in greener pastures, and I finally made it to town.
Well, that's what's cool is like you just see, just when you think, okay, this area is getting kind of stale, they move you to a new area. Spoiler alert, these people are trouble, and wherever they go. I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like they're trying to go to get a new start somewhere else, and it's like, dude, there's certain people in your group you'll find out that are the problem, because every time they come up with some plan, it's no bueno. It ends up fucking me. I don't like it.
So that could be Uncle, or it could be the leader. What's the leader's name? Dutch. Yeah, I question that guy's judgment every now and then.
Yeah, I'm the only smart. There's a couple people in there that seem to be have their heads on their shoulders, but everybody else is like just running around creating fires.
Well, them women, man, they're hard to keep up with.
Yeah, they ain't messing around.
I'm trying to be like uber good guy in the thing and build up all this good karma. But I got a little pissed off last time because I had to grab a horse real quick to chase a guy down. And then the thing told me, return the horse to its owner to receive additional good karma or good points, whatever. But I took the horse back to where I grabbed it from, and the guy's not there. I don't know how to find the horse's owner. He's not where he was. I even heard the guy talk like, hey, that guy took my horse. I turned around. I didn't see anybody. I don't know where he's at. I can't find him.
It's funny. It's funny because that happened to me as well, and I ended up just keeping the horse as a secondary. You know, you can have several different horses. You start to bond with them. You know, one of the things you can do too is you can take that horse and go to a town and sell it to the stables. You can steal people's wagons and shit. You can whatever. You can do whatever you want, and you can benefit off of it. And so like there's always that dilemma because I'm trying to be a good guy as well. But then I'll end up killing somebody, and I'm like, okay, now that I figured out that sometimes looting can be, I guess, tasteless. If you're looting the wrong body, it gives you bad karma. And so like I have to decide, or, you know, you just decide to loot the bodies, and that's when some fucker rolls across the path and you hear, oh, you know, I got to report this. Now I got to chase that fucker down and kill him too. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy. Such a good game.
It's funny that you can kill, you know, whoever, but don't loot them. That's bad karma.
Well, and sometimes there's certain people there's no issues with you killing them. Like if there's like a really fucked up person, I've shot somebody right in the face, right in town, in front of everybody, and then people acting like it was no big deal because they were doing something. It was like they were like, oh, thank God this. You know, like a shooter comes into a grocery store and shoots them, or somebody shoots them and kills them, stops them from killing people. People don't get upset. Well, in 2022, maybe they do get upset, but
Right.
you know, usually you're happy. You're like, yes, thank God they killed this fucker, and so that works out for you.
You know, I walked outside earlier today after I got home from work, and there was this beautiful horse in the field across the road from my house. And it was loose. It's just a loose horse running through the field. And I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. And wife's like, over there, like, what do we do? And I'm thinking, well, just press X. It'll calm down. That's all you got to do is press X a couple of times, and then you can lead it back to the wagon. But apparently that doesn't work in IRL.
Well, and this is the thing. Sometimes it works. You gotta. If you go in and you'll see somebody's saddlebag on a horse. If you try to go walk up and grab into that saddlebag, that horse apt to kick you. You got to pat it, brush it, you know, get it all, you know, calm down, then loot it. Then you're good.
There you go. Horse robbing 101 from my esteemed co-host.
That's right.
Anyway, as I said before, we got a lot to do and not much time to get it all in. So let's kick this show off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. And let me just say, Roots, I'm glad to be back. Like we missed last week because I damn near broke my foot. I actually might have broken it, but they said I didn't. So we're going to take that as a W and keep going. But glad to be back on the flagship and get 160 under our belt.
Yeah, thank God. You know, this is how the last couple of years have scarred me. I just assumed you were sick or something with COVID, you know. You know, when you said you couldn't do it at work, I thought, oh, he's probably sick. And I didn't even think that you hurt your foot. Man, that's worse, I think.
You know, oh yeah, I mean, I fucked it up bad. But speaking of COVID, I had my phone off for a few days. I've been off work for a week. I went back last night. But I had my phone off. I haven't been looking at my messages or anything. I picked my damn phone up today and start looking through it. And our friend Guido, 7335, has COVID. Like he wasn't at work when I got to work last night. So shout out Guido. Hope you're feeling all right, man.
He's in the chat, or he was, I think. I don't know. I see him all the time. I see his name so much that I may be projecting.
Well, let's see who is in chat. Onakazi's in chat. Mepper is in chat. Bluebell is in chat as well. Says, glad I'm back. I'm glad to be back, Bluebell. Thank you. Wolveraza is here, as is Space Denison. What's up? Evie Man versus Gas. Hello, friend. Black Market Honey. Good midnight from Sweden. Well, thanks for staying up, Black Market Honey. New viewer Roots, Black Market Honey.
Nice.
Left a nice comment on our, I think it was our Moss interview. So thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Echo into the future. Traveling Man 3775. Distract is here. Says blue balls. I can relate. Let's see who else is here. Time to PlayStation VR. I can't stop looking at Roots' balls.
They're shiny
They are shiny.
and big.
Have you come across the serial killer yet? Says Thomas McNostril. No, not yet.
Oh, you mean in Red Dead?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's some crazy people in that game.
Zaylan Maru. Steam Deck delivered yesterday.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
So I wonder if Zaylan's going to go through the usual process with, this is what you do when you get your Steam Deck. You unbox it. You take a couple pics for social media. You play on it for about 6 weeks, and then you sell it for a profit.
Right. Or it sits on your shelf. And you say, hey, look,
Right.
I got the Steam Deck.
Tatum is in the chat. What's up, Tatum? Traveling Man. Did we say hi to Traveling Man? If not, I think I always tell Traveling Man hi twice when we do this. What's up, Chris Richardson? What's up, Diane Jackson? Guido, there's Guido. You're right. Guido's here. Hope you feel better, brother. Hope you're getting in some VR while you're off work. It's Guido's fault I have to go in early tonight because he got
Damn it.
COVID. Now I got to go in early.
Son of a bitch. No, just kidding. Well, it's good. That means he's literally putting extra money in your pocket. What a nice guy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, always contributing that, Guido. Paradise Decay, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for staying up. PD's the one who helped me get Stray up and running in full
Nice.
beautiful 3D.
Awesome.
We'll talk a little bit more about Method on Wednesday. Thomas McNostril is here. Simplex is here. What's up, friend? Who else? Greg's VR. Hello. Mickey Barrios, of course. Good to see you. Who else? Berber Cat is here.
I'd be remiss,
Ready?
Wes, to not,
Sure.
since we were talking about Red Dead and the horse and stuff, to warn you, you can punch the horse. You can't shoot it, but you can punch it. Not that I tried to, but Steve is a testament. She was watching. Like, sometimes you hit buttons by accident. And I was like, oh my God, I was horrified. And then I accidentally did the same thing, but with a gun in my hand. And thank God it didn't let me shoot the horse. You got to be careful because they will let you hit it. And that was the last thing I would ever do is hurt an animal.
I'm going to be totally beating the shit out of my horse now. You told me that.
I wouldn't recommend it. He probably wouldn't like you too much. I got an Arabian horse, Wes. That beautiful horse that you talk about, it was like $1,000. It was really expensive. It's really good though.
Nice. Well, I'll have to keep an eye out so I can steal it from you. Radio Rant is here, as is Chinatown D. Mepper is here. See. Ryan Brannon is here. Sim is here. Chris9989 is here. Alex VR is here. Michelle B. Oh, yeah. Decepticon is here. Rob Perry. Fluke Rogie. Vargosoft. Gabriel 04, the license to Meow Game Cat is here. Got a pretty good crew turning out here today, man. Diego Darko's here. Mike Newton's here. And I think that is going to round out our list. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Thank you one and all for showing up. Hey, GT's rolling in here right at the last minute. Good to see you, friend.
He's getting ready to drive. Yeah.
I'm supposed to be asleep as we have to be up at 2 a.m. for the drive. Ooh.
How long a drive?
Yeah, that's a good question. I couldn't imagine what it was like to live in Europe, man. So many awesome things within driving distance. Like, what do you think they do for vacation there? I mean, like,
Anything.
visit. I mean, they have literally ruins and tourist attractions that are thousands of years old. They can just drive to. Like, they have tourist attractions that's older than our country by a long many hundreds of years,
which is all great, but do they have the largest ball of twine? Because I'm pretty sure we have that here, and that rivals any of those 1,000-year-old relics, right?
True that, friend. Anyway, let's get into some headlines, man. We got some cool stuff to talk about this week. All right, this from VR Scout. And by the way, YouTube tells me that this would be a good time to insert ads.
Oh,
Like I ever insert mid-roll ads. Never, Anyway, VR shooter Gambit lets you fight baddies with a defibrillator. This again from Bobby Carlton, VR Scout. Charge up your gun fever bar to unleash hell upon your foes using a variety of insane weaponry. Gambit is an outrageous-looking VR shooter that has you joining a group of unstable mercenaries on a mission gone horribly, terribly wrong. The only way to escape with your life is to blast your way through multiple waves of ruthless bounty hunters who are looking to make a fast buck by bringing you all in. The game is rude, crude, and lewd in all the best ways. You can play as 4 different, charmingly unfiltered characters, each one featuring their own unique fighting skill and special weapon. Frank prefers the pure violence of a chainsaw and the horsepower behind it when it's at full throttle. Udo loves the sophistication of a crossbow and how light it feels in his hands as he leaps around attacking his opponents. Cody's favorite is the explosive bow and how it rattles everything when it hits the target. Kevin is the crazy one who likes to tinker with technology and uses a heavily modified combat defibrillator as his weapon of choice. That said, there's a catch. You have to earn access to your special weapon by powering up your gun fever bar. The more havoc and chaos you wreak on foes, the higher the bar goes. Once you've unlocked your special weapon, you can use it to deliver serious damage to your unsuspecting foes. Special weapons are only available for a limited time, so make every shot count. As the game unfolds, you'll also come across special items, such as power-ups, additional health, interesting rewards, and even a few masks you can wear to scare the bejesus out of your enemies. Gambit promises over 20 hours of gameplay filled with puzzles, mini-games, and straight-up chaos. The game is divided into 3 chapters, each of which features 3 large maps. You can play the game solo or team up with 3 additional players for some action-packed co-op. To make things a bit competitive, Gambit lets you compete against other players around the world via a global leaderboard. But there's also a PvP game mode described as, quote, multiplayer deathmatch. To keep things certified fresh, developer Xreal Games has several free updates planned that will introduce new skins for your characters, additional weapons, and fun new minigames. The developers also included an in-game graffiti board you can use to show off your creative side. Gambit will be available on Steam later in the year, but you can add it to your wish list right now. Ruuts, the more I see of this game, the more excited I get. Literally, when you read down the things that this game is featuring, it's everything really that we ask for in a game. Like, this isn't going to be one of these things that drop and we're asking for them to add in a campaign or ask for them to add in co-op. This is going to have all that shit at launch. And beyond that, I'm really digging the attitude and the vibe that I'm getting from the footage that we've seen so far. Are you as excited about Gambit as I am?
I am. I think it's super cool. I like that there's different weapons, different variations, right? That there's something that appears to be that's going to pull you through. You know, that's my biggest problem with After the Fall. After over 100 hours, is it just being the same thing over and over again with no real reason to go into it, right? Like if they dropped a campaign for After the Fall or some reason storyline, I'd be right back in there, but I just can't to get an upgraded gun. I'm really hoping this really delivers in that respect, because this has what After the Fall has as well, but it seems like it's got more uniqueness as far as the weapons go. Now, one thing that you can, like, I guess you don't have to be, you have to be a certain character to play, have a certain weapon, right? Like only one person's going to get the defibrillator, or
Right.
okay,
Yeah, well, those are special weapons that are character specific.
Hmm.
There's a larger array of weapons that everyone can get, but what we were covering in this article today was the special weapons that are specific to character. And normally, when I read through an article like this, it talks about this sort of thing. I can typically spot out, okay, that's going to be my character. I don't know which one of these guys is going to be my character. They all seem pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if the defibrillator can help my teammates, then that's who I'll gravitate towards. As like if that's the healer, or
It's
if
not,
you can
though.
resurrect.
It's not though. It's a weapon.
Damn it, Wes! I want to heal people. Now this looks like it's super cool. Somebody was saying in the chat that it looked a little janky as far as the gameplay, and I did point out, and they agreed that that it is alpha footage, so this is not how the game is going to release. We're a ways away from the release on this, right? I mean, this isn't coming out next week.
Right, and I mean it would, and even if it does release a little bit janky, I mean it has a pretty high bar to reach the level of jank that the critically acclaimed After the Fall has already set. Like after the jank is becoming a term that we're hearing more and more as time goes on.
At least they're adding some stuff. When you leave, you can now stay in your party and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
things
true.
that should have been there to begin with, but I don't focus on that. I focus on once somebody's fixed it, then how can you sit there and say, well, you should have done that a long time ago? Well, we didn't. We did it now, and it's fixed. So stop bitching. But
No, I had a blast last time I went in there. We did horde mode. The wife and I, Eric and Dee, and we did like 54 waves.
wow.
And I mean, it gets expensive because you have to buy your upgrades to last that long. You got to stockpile bombs. Cool thing about stockpiling bombs and juices and shit in horde mode is you don't have to carry them everywhere. Like you just make your pile and it's there. And so it makes sense, but it's expensive because every like 5 to 10 waves, the price increases. But with that said, at the end of the day, it's worth it because we ended up getting like 3 red discs, 3 gold discs, a bunch of discs that were lesser than that. And if you're trying to upgrade quickly, horde mode is the way to do it.
You better have a good team too. Takes a little bit of
for
skill.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, Gambit seems to have a lot going for it already, and we know the gunplay is going to be good. These are the developers that brought us Zero Caliber, which features some of, if not the best gunplay in VR right now. So a big check mark in that category, I'm sure. I don't know, man. I'm kind of surprised that they're only advertising this for Steam right now. Like, it's a bit refreshing, right? That like they're not going straight for the Quest port right off the top.
Probably gonna do the same thing with this one, I would assume, right?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll get there sooner or later. Or we might get like ultra lucky and this thing will drop so late in the year that the logical next step will be PSVR 2. But then again, we're still waiting on Zero Caliber to come to PSVR, so I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to take after they get this thing out on Steam. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that because, we play all VR games no matter where they go.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having all platforms. You don't have to be left out, right?
Right, exactly. Anyway, Gambit coming later this year. Supposedly, this is a game that actually we've known about for a long time, and it has taken them years to even start showing us anything. So hopefully we'll see this game this year. It is scheduled to release this year. Um, but I'm excited for it, man. The more I see of it, the more confirmation I get that this game is going to be as good as I think it is. And I mean, it looks like it's going to come up big in areas where other similar titles have fallen short.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look at the date on this poster here. That tells you where we're at now. It could
Exactly.
be 2023 for all we know. But if it's good, I don't care. I'd rather it come out Q1 2023 than have it be shitty in 2022.
Right.
So,
Rather wait for a game than wait for a patch, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, this game was originally, as you can see, supposed to drop in 2021. We didn't even get the reveal trailer for this game until like April this year. So like, yeah. But
Crazy.
I'll be happy if we get this game this year. I'll be ecstatic. But again, as we just said, we'll happily wait as long as it takes for them to um, get it up to par. You know, we don't want janky crap when they launch it. We want a good game. So if that takes 2023, then so be it.
Yep.
My actions have not tainted my words with hypocrisy, for I myself have sacrificed everything.
Red Matter 2 gameplay showcases stunning visuals on Quest 2. This from Harry Baker at Upload VR. After setting a new standard for standalone VR visuals with the first game, Vertical Robot's Red Matter 2 looks likely to do the same again on Quest 2. A technical showcase video shared by developers Vertical Robot on Twitter indicates Red Matter 2 should be a pretty visually stunning release, even on Quest 2. Even though the game is also releasing on PC VR, this new video suggests Quest 2 players shouldn't be missing out on too much. Vertical Robot explains that Red Matter 2, quote, runs a heavily modified version of Unreal Engine, which the studio used to create some stunning graphics features that look unlike much of what we've seen on standalone hardware so far. Altogether, it's pretty stunning work with some of the visual features highlighted, including high-quality reflections, particle effects, glass, and even liquids, as well as various forms of lighting and shadows, with detailed character models called optimized metahumans in the video. After that technical showcase, it's safe to say that we're even more excited for Red Matter 2 to launch on Quest 2 and PCVR August 18th. Roots, I don't remember where it was, but recently I heard someone talking about Red Matter 2, and they said that as good as it looks, it doesn't look like a very big step up over Red Matter 1. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, it doesn't? And then, almost as if on cue, Vertical Robot drops this on their Twitter and just reminds everybody what's up and that this is going to be a technical showcase on standalone hardware.
Yeah, that's crazy. The faces look next level, right? Like that, I couldn't believe just watching that. I was like, oh my god. This is the thing though. And I said this, and I'll probably say it every time this game comes up. I just hope the story is good. Because everything about the first one was good, but the story to me, like the movement, the puzzles, the exploration, the way it looked, at least on PC, I didn't really check out the Quest 2. But if they have the same story type, this is my dilemma. Okay, and there's people out there like this. Dee was one of them. She was trying to decide which did she spend her money. She saw this trailer and she's like, do I get Red Matter 2 or do I get Moss Book 2? I said, D, that's a no-brainer Moss. I said, Moss is like AAA. Even though this game looks amazing, the story didn't impress me the first time around. Moss, the first time did. The second one's even better. You have to get Moss. And that's not to take away from this game. I'm hoping it's better. I really was not blown away with the story in the first one. So
well, I like the story in the first one, but beyond that, I mean, I'd hate to be put in that situation where you had to pick between those two games. I mean, I feel like, having not played this one yet, I feel like these are likely to be two must-own titles. Probably going to, I don't want to say. I was about to say probably both going to be in the discussion at the end of the year, but I haven't played this one yet, so I don't want to set expectations, that are unfounded here. But I do have very high expectations for this. This game, or the original Red Matter, on Quest 1, the original Quest, looks better than 90 to 95% of the Quest 2 games that we've gotten so far.
It's crazy.
These guys have somehow found a way to do some black magic and turn your Quest processor into a PC processor. And they're doing some highly technical wizardry here to really blur the line between standalone VR and console / PC based VR. I loved Red Matter 1. I loved everything about it. And if this is a true sequel, it should be better in every department, and I expect that it will be. So yeah, man, I don't know. I would suggest that D check her couch cushions and try to get both of them. This one's not out for another month or 3 weeks anyway.
Well, that was her thought process. As she said, well, this isn't going to be coming out for a couple months or a month or so. The fact that she was just finished Moss 1. So timing is perfect to get Moss 2. And this is how good MASH is. MASH took the problem out of her hands and bought her Moss 2 and gave her a key. So now she doesn't have to
solve.
Problem solved. Now she can have both, which is awesome, right?
Yeah. Well, good on MASH for making good use of his game keys. Kudos to you, sir. Yeah, man. I don't know. What I do know is that there's not many games I'm as excited for as I am Red Matter 2. I do know that we're going to have review access. Here's the caveat, though, Roots. I don't know which platform we're going to get access on. I've kind of thrown it out there to the developers like we'd like to have it on both so we can compare, but I don't know that that's going to happen. But with that said, do we have a preference here? Like, which would you rather have if we had to pick?
For me, I'm going to say with my new processor and video card, I'd rather have the PC version. But I think it's good that this, as good as they can make it look on that Quest 2, there's no way it can equal what my 3080 Ti can put out. You know what I mean? That being said, I'm sure if I played it on Quest 2, I would enjoy it and be great. You know what I mean? So
Well, here's the thing. Like, obviously, it's going to be a little better on PC. We know that. Um, but there's a certain level of curiosity in me that wants to see what they can do with the Quest 2 hardware. Like, I'm a fan of the technical end of it. I like to see hardware being pushed, and I don't think that they're really going to fully push PC the way that they're going to fully push on the Quest hardware. So while if it was just me picking which one I want to play, sure, I probably would rather play it on PC. But if I had to pick one, I'm not so sure that I would pick PC over Quest, just because there's this a whole other side to wanting to check it out on Quest, and that is just to see what the hardware is capable of.
But how can you know the difference if you don't try both? That makes the case why we have to play both. Because how can we make a rave about how good it is unless we can compare it against the PC, right? So you got to compare. Have to have something to compare it to against.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So hopefully we do get to try it out on both. But I'm excited regardless. Whichever one shows up or both. I'm really looking forward to this one. As far as like confirmed games that I know are coming this year, this has got to be, top 3, top 5 for me. Really, really looking forward to this one. So excited that it's not that far. Just a few more weeks, we're going to have our hands on this one. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. My favorite thing about the first one was the locomotion. I hate teleport, but I love the way they did it. Didn't feel like teleport. It made me feel like I was moving around in this suit, and that's how you moved. That was really cool.
Paradise Decay says Moss and Red Matter are stepping stones to Quest 3 graphics. Eventually, that will make PC better in the long run. That's true.
You know what I'm talking about, PD. You got a 3080 Ti. You want to crank that shit, right?
PD's got a 3080 Ti because he's playing flat games in VR on that daily, son.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. When you're doing those mods, it really helps to have a good video card.
We've had a few friends join us in chat. Bacardi B is here. What's up? Tom Flesh Eater Gaming is here. Good to see you. Let's see. I thought I saw a couple of others that joined. Oh, Tiffany. What's up, Tiffany? Good to see you. And of course, Masher. What's up, Eric? When's Masher getting home? Is he home yet?
Oh yeah, he got home yesterday. Cool. It might have been Friday night, or I know he did the show from home. So.
Anyways, Red Matter 2 coming on the 18th. It's available for pre-order now. Unlike Moss, this one's available for $30, so you're gonna save a little bit of money. And I think there's a pre-order discount even on that.
26 something. I think it's like 10%. I think.
Yeah. So pre-order it. Save yourself a few bucks.
15.
I can just about guarantee you that you won't be sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, speaking of high quality, high profile VR games, Roots, while we were away last week, something fairly significant happened in VR gaming, and that is we found out what's coming next from Survios. There's an Aliens VR game currently in the works from Survios. This according to Kyle Melnick at VR Scout. Game over, man. Game over. Survios, the same team behind popular VR games such as Sprint Vector and Creed Rise to Glory, has partnered with 20th Century Studios to bring the legendary film studio's iconic Aliens franchise to VR. Details are light at the moment. What we do know is that the single-player action horror experience will feature a new story set in the Aliens universe. More information will supposedly be revealed later this month during the Alien Expanding a Dark and Frightening Universe panel at San Diego Comic-Con. All right, so this is an older article from 10 days ago. And spoiler alert, guys, they never made it to this panel. The Survios representative that was supposed to be at this panel contracted COVID and couldn't get into the damn Comic-Con. So we're still waiting on this info. But But anyway, the game we do know is still coming, and they're promising us more information really soon. We got a quote here from Chief Product Officer at Survios, TQ Jefferson. When I joined Survios in 2020, it was to build bigger, more ambitious games and using the best entertainment franchises across console, PC, and VR platforms. Aliens is a distinct and terrifying world that fans love to be entrenched in, and it is perfect for Survios' proven expertise in creating immersive gaming experiences. The vast universe of Alien is full of untold stories and opportunities to create gripping, original games. We're thrilled to work with it. Oh, sorry. This is VP of Disney, Pixar, and 20th Century Games, Luigi Prior. He says, we're thrilled to work with a team like Survios who shares our passion for Alien and for immersing fans into new worlds and experiences. Survios, of course, no stranger to working on VR games on well-known intellectual properties. The studio has created immersive experiences for Westworld, The Walking Dead, Creed, and Puzzle Bobble. All right, Ruuts. So this is pretty exciting. This apparently is a pretty big budget Aliens game. It's going to be a flat game. It's also going to have VR mode as well. What's your hype level for this? Because, I mean, obviously it's a great franchise. Obviously there's a lot of money behind it. But Survios has been very much hit and miss over the last 2 or 3 years. So what do you think here? Is this going to be something along the lines of Westworld, or is this going to be something along the lines of Onslaught?
That's the thing. It's been more miss than hit. You know, if you notice what they which I'm surprised they didn't say Westworld, but you know, they referenced Creed, which in my opinion was okay. I mean, it was very weird. I just think Thrill of the Fight, I think, is a better boxing game. And then, you know, Westworld, and what was the other one that they, at the onset of the top of the article, they referenced Sprint Vector, which even though people loved it, no one's playing it. It didn't get adopted because it was weird in itself. So I feel like they could do a good job. They've proven with Westworld, if they're given the time and the right direction, and maybe they're not told to stop doing what they're doing and shift it to a whole completely different game halfway through, they could actually make a good Aliens. I feel psyched, but I'm very reluctant to get myself too psyched, because a part of me has a bad taste in my mouth still from Onslaught, and it was just so lazy. Somebody mentioned this last week, I think, on Mash's show, about the Mist, right? The zombie horde. They couldn't even put a real zombie horde, and it reminded me how bad that game is and how lazy they were. And so when my first initial reaction when I heard this was not excitement, it was like, fuck, why Survios? So hopefully Survios is going to fix it. I don't know. Fix their reputation.
Here's a couple of things. I wouldn't call Onslaught bad. I would call it a big disappointment. I would call it a game that should have certainly been a whole lot better. But overall, I would call it an average game. It's an okay. It's like a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, something like that. Second of all, there's going to be a lot more money behind this Aliens game than anything we've ever seen from Survios before. Again, this is not being developed strictly as a VR game, but as a hybrid game, and it's got big, Hollywood studio money behind it. So I'm hoping that will translate into some sort of quality standard. We do know that there's new leadership at Survios. There's a lot of new blood in there that are tasked specifically with bringing these kind of experiences into VR. And when I read their short description, I see things that both, sound good, and then other things that make me kind of question a little bit. First of all, the thing that makes me question is the fact that they're calling this an action game. Like, I don't know if I would want this to be too much of an action game. When I'm thinking about an Aliens VR game, I immediately think of Alien Isolation, which was more of a stealth game. I mean, there were action elements, adventure elements, but that was primarily a stealth game, and it worked very well. But what I do like about what I'm hearing here is that they're touting this original story from the Aliens universe. I think happened. The story takes place between the first movie and the second movie, so we're getting an all new original story. Again, from the studios behind the movie, so they do have that going for them. So really, I mean, until we see screenshots or gameplay, we really don't know what's coming here. But I'm cautiously optimistic here that the new leadership, all the money behind this, the partnership with the studio, I'm hoping that that's going to equate to a highly immersive experience, even if the gameplay loop isn't all that deep.
Yeah. Well, you got to think about the movie Aliens, right? That was like they referenced at the Game Over, man. That movie was action packed. If you had a game that was like that, where it was kind of like After the Fall, except for with aliens, and of course not just the same game, but with just aliens. But a game where you're running around and they're jumping, and they're coming out of vents, and they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and maybe you're trying to get somewhere. I think it could be really cool. They have the potential to do really good. Westworld was one of the best games I've played in VR. I loved the story. It made me want to watch the movie, or actually did get me to watch the TV show, and it was done so well. And then I agree more with PD than I agree with you in this respect. I didn't think Onslaught was a 6 out of 10. I thought it was like a 3 out of 10. I feel like they missed the mark in so many ways, but that's just how I felt when I played it. I don't know how well it's selling or how many people have actually played through it. I know I've stopped. Everybody that I know I don't know one person that finished it. Myself, I'm sure there's somebody out there. There's people out there that did, but most people stopped. That's not a mark of a good game to me.
Yeah, I finished the story sections. I think I didn't do all of the. I didn't do as much of the other crap that I could have. Most people like the arcade part better than the story. I was the opposite. I liked the story bits all right, but the arcade part with the red wall was all kind of just boring to me.
I wish they would have been more true to form too, with the as far as like, because you're a super fan and you were all sorts of things that you were like, why they shouldn't have done this, and like things that like the comic book, you're out there looking for a comic book for Carl and Carl's dead, or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, and you were like, why would you be doing that? In this part of the story, it's almost like they didn't try as much as they could have. With Westworld, they were so spot on with being accurate, right? I just really hope that that's how they approach this. And if they've got as much funding as you're saying that they do, then they probably will. And this probably will be a really good game, but we'll never know until it comes out.
We won't know until we see more. I do expect that this is going to be a next-gen game. So we probably are not going to see this anytime soon, but I imagine after we see PlayStation VR 2 drop, that it won't be long after that we start to learn a lot more about this game.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gambit, Red Matter 2, Aliens VR, the Lord giveth, Roots, but the Lord also taketh away, as Ubisoft has now canceled development of Splinter Cell VR. This from Harry Baker, Upload VR. Ubisoft has canceled Splinter Cell VR after several years of development. Ubisoft announced the news during the company's latest earnings call, as first reported by Axios' Stephen Totilo. Ubisoft announced Splinter Cell VR back in 2020 at Facebook Connect alongside Assassin's Creed VR. While the latter is still in development, the former is being canceled alongside 3 other non-VR projects, Ghost Recon Frontline, and 2 unannounced titles. In a document accompanying the call, CEO Yves Guillemot noted that Ubisoft is, quote, adapting its organization to current economic uncertainties through cost optimization. Games Radar reports Guillermo also said the company was putting, quote, even more focus on our biggest development opportunities, as evidenced by our decision to stop development on the Splinter Cell VR game, Ghost Recon Frontline, and 2 other unannounced titles. Both Assassin's Creed VR and Splinter Cell VR were announced in partnership with Facebook, but no specific headsets were mentioned at the time. However, early reports from 2019 indicated that the releases were set to be Oculus exclusive. Ubisoft's Red Storm Entertainment were leading development for both titles in collaboration with Ubisoft Reflections, Ubisoft Dusseldorf, and Ubisoft Mumbai. In January 2021, Ubisoft was looking to hire 17 positions on Splinter Cell VR, notably including network programmer for multiplayer functionality. After the initial announcement in 2020, Ubisoft and Meta had yet to show any gameplay or give updates or Splinter Cell VR development. I think that's supposed to say on Splinter Cell VR development. Similarly, we've yet to receive any official updates on Assassin's Creed VR. However, reports from April revealed a few details, including the rumored title, Assassin's Creed Nexus, accompanied by supposed menu footage from the game running on Quest. Ubisoft's latest company report with selected remarks are available to read via the link on Upload VR there. So Ruuts, when the Meta VR showcase came and went in April, and we didn't see anything from either of these titles, they told us not to panic, that it's going to be okay, that lots of stuff are still in development, and there's nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here, folks. Apparently, that wasn't exactly true, was it?
No, it wasn't true. But don't worry, don't panic, Wes. Assassin's Creed is still in the works. Yeah, this is my thing. I look for precedents being set. I look for patterns. I look for a lot of things in what companies say and what they do. And what Ubisoft is telling me is they're pulling out of VR. Like how many games have they canceled the servers recently? Now this, maybe they're not, but it doesn't make me feel comfortable. Like if I can't go into somebody's house tomorrow and be like, hey, did you know they're coming out with Assassin's Creed VR? Because I was saying that a week ago, but I was saying, and Splinter Cell. Now Ubisoft made me a liar. And you know what I mean? So I just don't, I'm starting to not trust what they're saying, because what they're saying and what they're doing are two different things. And they've clearly, came out and told us everything was good. Did they change their mind in the last 2 months or 3 months or whatever to completely scrap a game they've been working on for 3 years? Or do you think they knew a couple months ago when they lied to us, or whenever you said that they came out and said that? So I don't know, that everything was good.
There's a few things to consider here. First of all, with Ubisoft and the cancellations and server closures, I probably should point out that it's not just VR stuff. Like, there's a long list of flat titles and stuff that are getting canceled, that are getting servers shut down as well. We just report on the VR stuff here. There's a lot more of that going on than you know about. It's not just VR. Secondly, I think that there's a couple of things that could be behind this. First of all, these two titles were supposedly going to be Oculus/Meta exclusive. And what that means is that Meta was funding them. But we also know through recent reports that we've reported on here that Meta is going into safe mode, for lack of a better term, and they're pulling back their investment on all fronts. So this could have just as much to do with Meta pulling back their pocketbook as Ubisoft and what they want to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. If your funder is suddenly saying we're not funding you anymore, it stops becoming feasible to work on the game. It doesn't mean they can't just shelve it for a while and bring it back in the future. I don't know. My thing is that it's sketchy. The whole thing is weird. Like Onakazi says, Ubisoft seems to perpetually be on the verge of bankruptcy. And maybe this isn't, Ubisoft only. Maybe we're going to start seeing this in the industry across the board. Like I saw an article today that said that the gaming industry is is not exempt from recession, right? Like it's hitting everything, and we just why would we expect everything to be the same when the economies are going of the world are going to shit? So
I'm sure it'll be affected to some extent. But unless the economy worldwide gets like completely devastated, typically gaming and entertainment thrive during these types of periods because people look for distraction.
right.
And yeah, so I mean, it would be a dire situation if we start to see gaming take a big hit from economic factors. But with regard to this specifically, I was thinking about this the other day when I first read this story. Um, if you're Ubisoft and you're only getting so much funding from Meta, and you can only finish one of these titles, which one are you going to finish? Assassin's Creed, which is an active series that gets a new flat game every other year, or Splinter Cell, which hasn't had a game out for many years and has a active, loyal fan base who are waiting for that next title. I think they're smart to go with Assassin's Creed here and cut Splinter Cell because let's be honest, a lot of the press for Splinter Cell and reviews are going to be negative because just from flat gamers that are pissed off because they're still waiting on their next Splinter Cell game and VR's getting it, and that alone was going to be an uphill battle for them. And I think it's kind of smart, to be quite honest, to shelf this. And if they are years into development on it, I think that's probably what they're doing here. They're probably going to shelf it, and then a few years down the line, after they have a flat Splinter Cell game to give everyone, maybe they pick it back up then.
Or do one at the same time. Chris Richardson says, was Beyond Good and Evil 2 in that list canceled titles, or do you know?
I have no idea. I'm sure you could. Quick Google search would tell you the answer to that, but I don't know. I know there's a lot that Ubisoft have been scaling back with, and it isn't just Ubisoft. There's a few. It's kind of uncanny how many servers are getting shut down. It seems like a lot of old online multiplayer games are finally being taken out to pasture. If you look on the cutting room floor today, Riggs, which was a PlayStation VR launch title or an early PSVR title, the servers for Riggs are finally getting shut down, which I thought they already were, but apparently not. But that's Guerrilla Games shutting that one down. But so yeah, it's not just Ubisoft; it's everywhere.
Well, and this is the thing. Okay, Space Junkies, great game, right? We've talked about all the different problems it had with it or whatever, and people could, and myself included, say it's a great game, you should support it and leave the servers up. But when Ubisoft looks at the numbers and they're like, there's 100 people that played this game this month, like at some point companies have to make that decision. And so if people, a lot of time, and if it's a game that people are still actively playing the shit out of, then people should complain. But if nobody's playing it, and we kind of had that same reaction with Star Trek Bridge Crew, we didn't really care until we found out it was going to be gone. And then we're like, oh my God, it's bullshit. We got to get in there. And that's how a lot of people are. And so like, I can't blame some of the servers. Makes sense. It's like, okay, the game's dead. It's been dead and there's still avid fans, but it's not worth keeping open. It's just when it comes out and it's been a year or something, or even in Riggs, it's only been 5 or 6 years, 6 years. But I don't know what their numbers are. So
yeah, I thought Riggs was dead a long time ago. I was kind of surprised me to find out that it wasn't.
Yeah. So I get it on both sides. Like companies can't keep these servers open forever if there's nobody playing. It's just not feasible.
For sure. I do prefer though that in the instances that the game has a single player mode, that they at least let people keep their game and play it in that capacity.
Yeah, or somehow use a private server, or or Steam. If it's a PCVR, like there's games you can play through remote play all the time, you could still, you know what I mean? There's got to be ways you could still set it up. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of games you can. Yeah, with local hosts and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ubisoft not the only company, as mentioned, making hard decisions and focusing their efforts on things that are going to be productive and profitable in the long term. As Ready at Dawn is moving on from Lone Echo 2 and Echo Combat. This from Ian Hamilton, Upload VR. By the way, guys, my sources are going to shit, man. Road to VR is in shambles. It has been for a month, it seems like. And then, like, Good Morning Web 3, it's been like 6 weeks since they put a new story up. So,
Wow.
like, if it seems like I'm heavy on Upload VR, it's because my sources are dying. So, if you guys have any good VR news websites that I'm not aware of, hit me up on Discord or leave a comment in the down below and let me know, because man, Upload is increasingly becoming the meat of our show, even more so than it was before.
Yeah, if they're the ones putting out the good articles,
Yeah. Ready at Dawn won't issue further updates to Lone Echo 2 or Echo Combat, and we'll only see major bug fixes going forward. The Meta-owned studio, we need to draw attention to that. This is a Meta-owned studio. Provided the guidance in a blog post this week indicating work is underway on, quote, new exciting projects, but that the single-player PCVR adventure Lone Echo 2 won't see further bug fixes and localization. Ready at Dawn made it clear back in 2020 there were no plans for the multiplayer zero-G shooter to jump to Oculus Quest like Echo Arena did. But now the developers say going forward they will, quote, only fix major bugs and issues as they appear for Echo Combat on PC. We've heard the community asking for new maps, new guns, and features to be added to Echo Combat game mode. Unfortunately, the team is unable to dedicate the time and resources to generate new content for Combat. We will not be adding any new content to Echo Combat. Lone Echo 2 was the PC-based Rift's last exclusive title, and our review at release noted, quote, technical hiccups, even on high-end software. Numerous reviews on the Oculus Store noted performance issues. And while Ready at Dawn says it did extensive testing and research on various PC setups to ensure the game was performant, there were still issues with some, quote, specific PC setups. We unfortunately haven't been able to identify a specific root cause for the crashes reported. Due to this and the fact that the team have shifted over to work on other projects, we have no plans for additional patches or updates to Lone Echo 2 in the future. This includes bug fixes and localization. We understand this news can be upsetting and apologize for any frustration it may cause. With Echo VR continuing to live on both Quest and Rift as a very popular free-to-play 4v4 team sport, Ready at Dawn says its developers are also in the early stages of working on new exciting projects. So there you have it, Roots. Basically, if we didn't already know that the PC support was dead for these titles, here they are telling us in yet another way that they really aren't interested in developing for PC anymore, even to the point of saying, well, we're not even going to fix problems that have been in the game since it launched. Good on all those people who refunded it up front and said that they'll buy it when it's fixed, because apparently it's never going to get fixed, right?
What a bummer. If you were one of those people and you said, I'm going to support them, they're going to fix it, I'm going to hold on to this game, and now they're basically saying, and these are big problems. Like the problem that I'm having with From Other Suns is probably happening to some people, where they try to start the game and it just shuts itself down. and they don't know what. Maybe it's a AMD thing. Who knows what the hell? But they just get, I mean, they're clearly focusing on Echo VR, which is like they said, very popular. It just sucks because Lone Echo 2 is not that old, and if you bought it when it came out, what, 6 months ago, a year ago, and never really got to play it properly, or you were waiting, you got screwed. I think people should go to, and they probably will, if you you probably get your money back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest is if you're someone who hasn't been able to play this, I would take the opportunity right now, while this is in the news, to make an issue of it with Oculus support, because you probably can get your money back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's about the only thing that's bad. That's the problem with this. Other than, you know what I mean? Like Onakazi said, he thought they were pretty clear about the news for a long time now. That's exactly it. And that's exactly what you were stressing. Like if you didn't believe it before, if you didn't believe it a month ago when we were theorizing that's why Meta dropped all their technology out on the table and stepped back and said, you guys do it. They clearly signaled they were pulling out, and they are. They everything that they've done, so.
You know who hates it when people pull out?
My mom!
She does.
What's up, Dark Angel? What's up, Mind Jive? Good to see you, friends. Yeah, man. I guess I want to count myself as one of the lucky ones, because Lone Echo 2 runs well on my system, and it's an amazing game. I do feel for those who aren't able to play it. Luckily, these are very isolated incidents, and most people with strong gaming PCs can still enjoy this game. Echo Combat,
I didn't think that was good to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right, but
that's where you hold on to the swan, right?
Yeah,
no,
something like that.
I know. I'm not big on that at all. But I mean, I wasn't really a big Echo VR person either, but people really love it. So,
yeah. Anyway, R.I.P. Echo Combat. We hardly knew ye.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk a little hardware, Roots, before we get into the week's reminders, because we did have some significant developments take place over the last couple of days. As our friend Brad Lynch from Sadly It's Bradley posted this on his brand new, I guess it's not brand new, but his relatively new blog page, sadlyinreality.com. I have linked this article in the description down below for those of you who want to get all the details, because I'm not really going to do a full summary. I'm not going to read the article to you. There's a lot of information here. Brad cracks me up because, I mean, you read the title. It's the final MetaQuest Pro analysis. This is about the third or fourth time that Brad has done the final word on MetaQuest Pro. But he keeps getting new info, and he keeps going back on that. So kudos to him for, staying relevant, staying current. But I do believe him. I do believe this will be the last one, because he basically spells it all out here. Everything that you would want to know, down to detailed schematics and everything, every little spec about, even the controllers and the headset, everything. It's all here. And the reason I'm talking about it, because the big question that we've had about this device for a long time is, when's it coming? How much is it going to cost? Well, Brad enlightens us here and lets us know that this is coming for pre-order during the next Meta Connect event, which will be in October.
Ooh.
And he expects the price for the kit with the controllers and the charging pad and all the stuff you're going to need for it, $1,500.
Woo!
Yeah,
wow.
man.
You know what else is $1,500 right now from Best Buy? You get it in a few days. A 3090 Ti.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of fucking money, man. Like, that $1,500, like, that is about $500 more than my limit of what I would pay for a headset.
Me too. And it's unfortunate too because as I read through the spec sheet, like this is going to be an amazing device. Like the stuff this thing can do, unheard of, and really a lot of this article here that Brad has typed up focuses on these controllers. And guess what? These controllers are going to be state of the art. They're going to be like the PSVR 2 controllers. They're going to have HD haptics. They're going to have the adaptive triggers, and unlike the PSVR 2 controllers, these controllers have onboard processors. They're going to track themselves. They have cameras and processors built into the controllers. They're going to track themselves. So tracking is going to be pretty much perfect. You can stick it anywhere behind your head. It doesn't matter because they're tracking themselves. State-of-the-art controllers for a state-of-the-art headset with about 2K per eye resolution. It's going to have G2 resolution. It's going to track your face. It's going to track your eyes. It's going to have color pass-through for AR functionality. And it's going to have Wi-Fi 6E routes. This is what makes it painful for me. It's going to have Wi-Fi 6E built in. So this is going to be a banger of a PC VR headset. Even if you're not excited about all the standalone functionality it's going to have, this is going to be a great PC headset.
Yeah.
I can't see myself paying $1,500 for any headset, no matter what the features are.
What have you sold off? Like you justified it. You like G2 gone. One of my Quest 2's gone. You're like, okay, now it's instead of 1,500, now you're like at 900, 1,000. And granted, you lost those two pieces of technology, but you got your foot in the door. Yeah, this is the biggest thing about any big purchase, and I'm a testament in just 2 weeks' time. You know, you take $1,100 that you're like, oh man, that's really tight. It's tight to do that. You spend it, and then you fast forward a month down the road, you adjust, you forget about it. Now you got this amazing thing, and you're not really thinking as much about that money. Now, of course, someone like yourself that's also tied, you got your whole family depending on you. If you know what I mean, you're probably thinking a lot more further steps forward. But I don't know. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. $1,500.
It is, and if you put it that way, like if I could manage to get this down to about $800 and trade in a few pieces of equipment, maybe I would do that. But I don't know, man. It's still kind of a tough pill to swallow. As awesome as I think this is, I also know that Valve is working on something very awesome as well. And
True.
While it's probably not going to be as compact and comfortable as this headset is, maybe it will be. It's kind of hard to make decisions on things like this without knowing, without all the cards being on the table yet, because we don't know what else is happening here. We don't know what Valve's doing. We don't know what so many other companies are going to come with. Even the next article kind of alludes to that. So, I don't know. I certainly, if I were a betting man, I would bet that I never own one of these ever.
Hey, maybe we'll become Oculus Meta ambassadors, and they'll just send us one. I doubt it. But
I often ask myself if I would even accept that if they offered it to me. Like the easy thing to say is, yeah, sure, it would be great to get access to games, the big titles early. But with that said, Meta is becoming less and less of a force in gaming and moving more towards social features. And while I know that being a Meta ambassador doesn't really hinder your ability to cover all platforms. Like these guys, we have many friends who are ambassadors, and every one of them will tell you the thing they're most excited for is PSVR 2. So and they say a lot of disparaging things about Meta. So I know that there's no kind of restriction on Meta's end for their ambassador program. What I also know is that there are some people out there who don't care and will always look at those people as being compromised, as being shills, even if it's unfounded. A lot of people see it that way. And I don't know that I would want to take that on. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I would certainly have to think about it before I accepted it.
Yeah, I think it's something you should think about, right? So
Yeah, it's a good question. And at the end of the day, I would probably go for it. You know, we're a small channel. We have to take every advantage that we can get. But at the same time, like I've always said, all we really have is our credibility. And, making decisions that make us lose some of that credibility with certain people, even if it's unfounded, it's something we'd have to consider.
that's very true. EV Man versus Gas says Valve was 1,000 with all the crappy IR towers. What's another 500? Well, guess what? Headset Wes and I never picked up.
Exactly.
The index. I never picked up the index at 1,000. So you want me to get it one at 1,500? I don't know that, like Wes said, maybe the specs are so good when they're all solidified and we really know what's coming out and you're thinking, I have to get this headset. I'm in the market for getting a new headset that's wired, period. This is my problem. This is attached to Meta. And I've tried three Meta headsets. Two of them were Oculus. And every one of them had issues. I guess the CV1 didn't have as many issues, but I would hope for $1,500 it's not dropping, weird stuff. I'm not having to redraw my fucking thing 17 million times.
Well, here's the thing, man. This is a $1,500 premium kit. There's no OLED. I mean, I'm paying $1,500. Why am I having to deal with QLED LCD panels? Like, this should have OLED in it, shouldn't it?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, good on them for making the chargers rechargeable. Most of these controllers, like most of the volume inside of it, is battery. So I mean, it's going to have a hefty battery. So good on them for doing that. But yeah, man, I don't know. See, the thing about like all right, I'm all in on PSVR 2, right? Even if they launch it at $600, in addition to the $500 console I already paid for, I'm in on it. I wouldn't be happy about that price, but I'd pay it. But what am I paying for? In addition to all the bells and whistles, and there are a lot of them on that headset, what I'm paying for at the end of the day is that catalog of games that they're going to support it with. That's why I'm excited for PSVR 2. As much as I'm excited for eye tracking and HD haptics and all the other stuff that's going to be featured on PSVR 2, the reason why I'm excited is because of the big budget games that are going to support it. And when it comes to something like Quest Pro 2, first of all, it's not a gaming focused device. It'll do gaming very well, but it's not a gaming focused device. It's going to have the same processor in it as a Quest 2, the exact same one. And there's not going to be any exclusive titles for it. There's not going to be any exclusive titles. It's just going to play Quest games. So, again, sure, it'll be a great PCVR headset, but it doesn't have any exclusive games. It doesn't have it doesn't have a processor upgrade from the Quest 2, and
no OLED.
Man, no OLED, exactly, no OLED. So what are we paying for? I'm eye tracking, AR pass through. I mean, those are neat bells and whistles, but
60.
Who gives a shit? It's going to have a panel upgrade, more resolution, but it's not going to have more resolution than my G2. So again, what am I paying for?
Well, and then you can. It's almost a little different when it comes to PlayStation VR 2. I mean, it really is, because like even if it was $600, everybody attaches that $500 console to the headset. That's not fair. Like if somebody decides that they want to get into PC VR right now, and they say, I got to get a headset, it's going to cost me $1,800 because I want to get a refurbished index kit for $750, and my computer is going to cost me $1,050. You're going to say, no, the headset costs you $750. You know what I mean? Like just because the console is attached, you have to have the console to play it, doesn't mean, like, most people already have that console. You know what I mean? So even at $600, that's not unreasonable. You know what I mean? You can't tie the two together any more than people talking about PC VR should be able to tie the PC to the cost of the headset. You know what I mean? So,
Who was it? I think Chris Richardson says that the Deckard ships on Valve time. That's true, but I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction here that we're going to learn what's next from Valve by the time this headset ships. Valve isn't going to let this thing come and go unless it looks like it's just going to be a flop and nobody's going to buy it. If there's excitement for this, then by the time this headset ships, we'll know what's coming from Valve. That way that people will know you don't have to buy this if you want an upgrade.
Hold on to your money.
Hold on to your money, exactly.
Yeah.
I would expect by November we'll get some sort of announcement from Valve.
Yeah.
PSVR 2 for $800. Who's in?
Yeah,
I would hate it, but I'm probably going to buy it.
I'd probably still be in too, but I mean, there's people that say there's no way it'll be over 400. Like that's the max. And,
I think 500. I think 500 is the max. I don't think that it will cost more than the console.
$499. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I hope it's not that expensive, but I mean, shit. PSVR 1 right now is $350. You know what I mean? Today, and you can't even buy new games for it.
That's crazy that they haven't dropped that.
I agree. One more story before we move on, and I just want to touch on this very quickly. Pico 4 and Pico 4 Pro spotted in FCC filings. So documents in an FCC filing provide a glimpse of a Pico 4 standalone VR headset as well as Pico 4 Pro with added face and eye tracking. This was first spotted by Protocol's Janko Rochers. By the way, who wants to take tech advice from somebody named Janko? Anyway, the documents provide what may be our first look at the successor to Pico Neo 3 Link. We just recently reviewed, we being Upload VR, of course, as a decent Quest 2 alternative. Pico, as everyone knows, owned by the ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok. I don't want to go into a bunch of this stuff here. Basically, this just confirms what we already knew, that there's a newer, better version of Pico on the way. My question is, Ruuts, I fully expect this to be a competitor to Quest 3, which we know is coming next year, but we don't know a whole lot about it yet. All we know is from our friend Brad, who in the previous article stated that the Quest 3 is going to have about 30% more pixels. And maybe I had my, hold on, let me back up here, because I said that the Quest Pro was going to be 2K per eye, but I might be thinking about Quest 3 now that I might have gotten that confused. So let me just correct myself before Simplex does. Oh no, I had it right. Quest Pro will be using 2160 by 2160 per eye. Quest 3, it states at the bottom of the article here. I mean, it did say. I'm just having a hard time finding it. All right, just like we data mined Cambria's display resolution more than a year before release, we've gotten our first glimpse of what the Quest 3 display resolution will likely be. Quest 2 firmware V43 is currently going out to some users. Deep within the code, we see that Eureka 865, which is Quest 3, has a single LCD display running at 4128 by 2208. So yeah, it's about 2K per eye as well. So Quest 3 is going to be pretty much on par with Quest Pro / Cambria in terms of raw resolution, which is about a 30% pixel increase over Quest 2, and it's going to be on par with PSVR 2 and HP Reverb G2. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, so we know Pico 4 is coming, we know Pico 4 Pro is coming, and that it's going to be a Quest 3 competitor. Do you think that we'll actually see any specs for these devices before we learn what's coming from Meta, or do you think that they're literally just going ahead and putting their filings in now before they've even done any kind of prototyping. And we're not going to really, they're not really going to settle on specs for these devices until they see what the next Quest is going to be. That way that they can mimic it and put something out that's pretty much exactly the same.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, that's if I had to lean towards one way or the other, just because of how companies in China operate, they're probably going to wait and see and copy and try to, adjust and, but I don't know. As long as they, I don't want either one of these companies running my headset, bro. Like, that's the problem. TikTok, ByteDance is probably, that's the Chinese version of Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't like Facebook. So I don't know.
Traveling Man 3775 says parts for Quest 3 will already have production lines from Cambria. That's exactly right. And that's another factor that we really need to take into consideration with this $1,500 Quest Pro. Zuck publicly stated that the Cambria /Pro line is basically just early rollout for what the next generation of Quest will be. So while I don't think Quest 3 will quite be as nice in build quality as the Cambria /Quest Pro, I do think that many of the specs that we're going to see on Quest 3, which will be a gaming focused device, are going to be comparable to Cambria. So what are you paying for that $1,500? Well, you're basically paying for your Quest 3 a year early. I'd rather just wait, because Quest 3, while it might not be $300 and $400 again, I certainly wouldn't expect it to be any more than $500, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially since there was such mass adoption with the Quest 2, right? Like that's their model, is a cheaper version. Maybe they go up a little bit higher, but they still want to be cheaper.
Right. Well, they're going to be competing. They're going to be trying to compete with PSVR 2. That's the reason why Quest 3 is coming out. It's going to be a PlayStation competitor.
Yeah.
So I would expect, with Quest 3, I would expect resolution on par with PSVR 2 and Cambria. I would expect eye tracking and color pass-through, just like with Cambria. Probably self-track controllers with all the advanced haptics and triggers, just like PSVR 2 and Cambria. And I would expect a bump up in processing power that puts it on par with low to mid-tier PCVR. That's what I expect from the next Quest. And it's going to be compelling, right? PSVR 2 is going to be, it's going to be around for a while, and I'm sure that the console-focused development studios out there are going to squeeze every drop of performance that they can out of that. But at the pace that VR technology moves, like in 3 to 4 years, we're going to be looking at PSVR 2 as like it's an old headset, right? Because standalone's going to catch up. PC's going to catch up. It's not going to take that long. And it's a big advantage for standalone having a 2 to 3 year turnaround time versus console, which is 6 to 7 years, because you can keep refreshing, you can keep advancing, while console is pretty much stuck in the mud.
Yeah. Hey, mate. I mean, with the way technology is moving now and with AI, I think it's probably even move faster than we expect.
I agree with that. Now, with that said, Sony could always release a PSVR 2 Pro version themselves that has more, up-to-date features as well. So,
Yeah.
Or wireless. I guess wireless would probably be the big thing for the next PSVR.
I'm sure there'll be a module. I know there's a lot of people like Wolvie that wireless is the biggest thing ever to these people, and Sony I think knows that. So I think there'll be some kind of a plug-in module at some point.
Probably right. Put a poll out there to the chat. Are you buying Quest Pro at $1,500? 86% of people say no, and 13% of people say yes. So,
Same people with 3090 Ti's.
Exactly. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up our headlines for this week and get us into the week's reminders. Guess what, Roots? We have stuff out this week.
An unknown enemy has been conspiring against humanity. Your mission is to investigate and terminate the threat with extreme prejudice. Kill them all. Join the shock troops.
Shock Troops is upon us, Roots. This from Garage Collective, our favorite retro-inspired VR studio. Our friend Cyril down there in Georgia gave us early alpha access to the very earliest versions of this game, and it was pretty polished and fun back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And who was it? Somebody said this. Wolf Raza says this looks like what I want out of an Aliens game, and that's exactly what I was thinking when Wes was saying, well, you would think it'd be more stealth like Alien Isolation. I was thinking, no, man, I'm thinking like this. I want fast-paced aliens in your face. Now I don't have to wait for it. And like you said, like these are the best retro games. Like these games, I'm watching the trailer. How cool does that thing look, right? Just another gem coming out of Garage Collective.
Yeah, I mean, this game screams Theta Legion. I don't know if you remember Theta Legion on Rift. This game looks like a modern version of that, and that game was amazing.
Yeah.
We do have a quote here from Cyril himself. Shock Troops is thematically connected to Theta Legion. The lore is the same. The logos are very similar. They both exist in the same universe, and they deal with similar threats. But it's also a brand new game with new art, new gameplay, a lot more story, and a lot of additions and improvements on the previous formula. And we wanted the name to reflect that to the players. We realized that the outdoors portions of Theta Legion, or the more open approach of the island of Harleth, were very popular with our players. We will be designing the sequence of indoors versus outdoor spaces in Shock Troops to reflect this. So yeah, we've been looking forward to this one for quite some time, and it is dropping, I want to say this Thursday, but give me a moment to confirm that.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, you know what was crazy was the way he priced Harleth. I got to hope that he doesn't underprice this game the way that he did Stones of Harleth.
Well, I'd love to see his sales, because we said it at the time, because it's such a good game and it's actually a great deal, that it was like his games are no brainers. Like, you don't think about it, you just pick it up. And if everybody has that mindset, it's like, fuck, it's only $10. And then you look at the reviews and you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing game. So there's two sides to that coin. Now, if he's not selling many copies, then yeah, absolutely. Jack that price.
Yeah, $10 though, man. That's
steal.
jack shit. That's jack shit's what that is.
That's I want everybody to own it. But yeah, I his games are so good, I would have easily paid 15 or 20 for it. So
yeah, no pricing information. And the date's not even on the Oculus page. I know Cyril told me when this thing's coming out. Hold on.
Onikazi says available to wish list now, and it is.
Yes,
absolutely. I think he was telling us as well.
Okay, gotcha. Give me a moment here. I want to make sure I don't have the exact date on this. I would expect it to drop on Thursday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, that's less than lunch. Yeah, especially now. And lunch has gone up. You go to any place, man, it's like $2-3 more, right? You know what? I'll tell you, just as you're looking for this, I buy my water. Tap water is not good here, so I get bottled water. And it's been a long time since because I've had some of my own. I went to go get a couple gallons, and they're now at $1.60. And I was telling people a couple months ago, man, they've went up 25 cents, 25% from $1. And that was just a couple months. It's gone up another 50 cents. So amazing.
Yeah. So I can confirm this game is dropping on Thursday at 1 p.m.
Okay. So we'll know
like-
for sure on Thursday the cost of it.
Right. Like, 95% of Quest games that launching on Thursday at 1 p.m.
Michelle B says this is a single player. Yeah, it looks like it's a single player game. Although it looks like it'd be a great game for co-op, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more involved with making stuff like this co-op. We have to remind people that this comes from a single developer.
That's right.
He does collaborate. He collaborates with one other dude for like music and stuff. But the game is very much just developed by he himself. So there's a lot to, not only developing a multiplayer game, but developing that kind of functionality, whether or not you're paying for servers or even making it with local multiplayer. It's a lot more. It's a lot bigger task to release a multiplayer game.
Absolutely, and I didn't even think about that because the overhead's so low. As far as he's only one other person for music. He's able to price it at a no-brainer cost because all that money's going into his pocket versus splitting it. Not that it's that much because everybody's got their take. Oculus has their take, but that could be a good reason why he's able to be so competitive with the pricing.
That's right. Anyway, very much looking forward to this. We might be able to talk about this on Wednesday. I know there's an embargo on. He might let us talk about it early. What I do know is that this Wednesday we're talking about Stray, and what was the other thing we were going to do? Moss Book 2. Moss Book 2 and Stray confirmed for Wednesday's night show. If I can get it okayed, we'll do Shock Troops as well.
That'd be cool.
Because it's technically going to be Thursday when it airs, so he might let us go a few hours early with it. But.
Ryan Brandon has a good point. He says Ubisoft can't even do multiplayer game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's not expect one person studio to be opening servers for everybody to join in.
Anyway, that's not all that's coming this week, Roots. There's other stuff coming as well.
Okay, let's do it. Alright, got it.
Alright. That one, and another one further back. Oh, okay, another one. Start distracted. Oh.
Okay, I'm almost dead.
Oh,
Much
got
better.
cured by this thing. Here, oh. Yeah. Try to keep here on this. Oh, yeah,
Let's take back. You're free now. Let's go. Careful.
Alright. Some help here.
I'm here.
Yeah, a lot of them. I guess better stick together. Oh. Not to fall down. This. Okay, one down. To left.
The last one.
Yeah.
Tracery of Fate from Sign Narva coming to Steam VR July 29th. Roots, it's a dungeon crawler, RPG style dungeon crawler. Little bit arcadey looking, but the cool part of it is that co-op multiplayer, up to 4 players at a time, and I think if I'm not mistaken, flat and VR players can play together here.
Oh well, yeah. Actually, I think this might have been one I was looking at because for that reason it was going to be flat and in VR. Because this is one of the VR Next Fest games, right?
That's right. We also have a review copy in the Virtual Strangers Library.
Oh, nice. Well, definitely worth checking out. I know some people are saying that the skeletons are a little slow. But I mean, we're thinking of what was that the other game that we played that was skeletons in the where they were like all over us, right, in your face.
Yeah, this is not Undead Citadel.
This is not Undead Citadel, but you can't play 4-player Undead Citadel with a dungeon crawl either. So this has its appeal. Definitely looks cool.
Yeah. Unusually high production value for a small team like this. And, I did a little bit of it in single player. And, I mean, obviously it's not a AAA game, but it was a fun little indie game. Definitely something I'd like to try out again with friends, which is why I quit playing it. I was like, we need to get, Roots and Eric in here with us and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, this game again coming to Steam VR this Friday, July 29th. Be on the lookout. Roots, did you hear? Last year's Steam VR Game of the Year is making its way to Quest 2 this week.
Oh, wow. Wait, what game is it? Oh, you're talking about this one? This was it?
Cooking Simulator VR coming to Quest 2 this Thursday, July 28th. I've said it often on this show. You know what the Quest library needs more of? Cooking games.
There's not enough cooking simulators at all, especially when you're halfway through the trailer, I'm seeing, apparently you're so bored that you're now bowling in the thing. I don't know if that's a feature or if they just set that up. This is my thing. This is my question for this game, and probably not because it's been out for a while. And the news article I just saw was recent. But will this have recipes for human flavored meat? Because that's the craze. I saw an article about that for like the fake meat, and it's human flavored. And I thought what? I don't know. I want it.
Yeah, all jokes aside, and with the abundance of cooking games, taking that into consideration, I think Cooking Simulator VR is a pretty good title for this game because this seems more realistic than the arcadey cooking games that we've played before. You're
Right.
in a full kitchen here with a full menu. It does look like there's some measure of physics involved here and real recipes. So if cooking games are your thing, I could see why you would be excited about something like this coming to Oculus Quest.
You know what would make this cool is if they could make it not cartoony, and whatever. I mean, obviously this game doesn't have to look real, but if you could actually go into a game like this and you could come out after playing several sessions and you could make something like you're learning how to cook stuff, then I could see a benefit for it. Just like I could see you taking something and maybe learning a language in here. May not be for everybody, but if I could walk away and I could literally take this into my kitchen and use it to cook stuff in real life, the knowledge you learn, I think that's actually pretty cool. So if this is more, I'd be more into a simulator than I am some weird space version of a bartender type of cooking thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, those other cooking games just kind of give me flashbacks to when I used to work at restaurants and throw me into a nightmare scenario I don't ever want to go back to. So, like, this certainly seems a bit more appealing to me, although it does seem to be single player and, basically a cooking experience. I agree, there are things that can be learned and taken from this and applied in real life, which is pretty cool.
yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to throw a big squash up in the air and slice it and dice it like that guy did. It's probably not a good idea. Wolfie says that he's fine with cooking games. Game of the year, that still blows his mind. And that's the main thing that I would say is, like, I don't think any cooking game is game of the year. For some people, I'm sure there's people, just like there's the wave was why people bought their headset. There's people out there that cooking sims, that's it, man. Like, you mean I can actually be in my cooking game because they love them so much. So.
Anyway, again, Steam VR Game of the Year coming to Quest 2 this Thursday. If Shock Troops ain't your thing, maybe Cooking Simulator VR will be. That'll bring us to this week's Viveport report. A good week for Viveport as Kayak VR Mirage added to the Viveport Infinity offerings for the week. We covered this one last week. An amazing technical demonstration for PCVR.
I don't think we didn't have a trailer for this one set up. I thought we had one for Labyrinth.
No, we didn't have a trailer set up for it. I just thought you might have a.
No, you're just waiting for me to say something.
it.
Yeah, very beautiful game and definitely worth checking out. The fact that you actually get to try this game and not have to pay for it if you have Viveport Infinity, that's huge. This is the type of game that you want to go in and chill, and it's a great value for sure.
Viveport also kicking off a new promotion called the Viveport Summer Camp, where they set up weekly challenges for 3 weeks running, and the prize, there are prizes for completing each challenge. And all the challenges is to play VR. They give you a group of games each week. All you have to do is pick one and play it, and you'll get the prize. So the first week, you can choose from Kayak Mirage, Walkabout Mini Golf, or Song in the Smoke.
Fuck, I want to play them all.
If you play any of those, they will give you Kayak VR Mirage to keep for free forever. The second week, Vermilion, Open Brush, or Mask Maker. If you play one of those, they will give you Vermilion to keep in your library. And then the third week, You have RC Rush, Ultra Wings 2, or Rush. If you play one of those, they will give you a free month of Viveport Infinity.
Oh God.
So the Viveport Summer Games, or Viveport Summer Camp weekly challenges have now officially kicked off July 21st to the July 27th for the first challenge. So you guys go check it out. Go get your free games. Go get your free month of Viveport.
That's a lot of games to finish to be able to. No, just kidding. Imagine if they were like, you're gonna have to beat Song in the Smoke and play every course of Walkabout to get. That's a pretty good deal, man. You just, I mean, all you have to do is go in there and play each of those games one time, and they're all good games anyway. And you're getting something for free each time. Although I've never heard of RC Rush. Is that like the new?
It's a new like Blaze Rush type game.
Oh well, shit, man. I want to go and play that now. That's cool.
And here's the cool thing is like you can, if you sign up for the 2-week free trial of Infinity, if you time it just right, you can take advantage of all 3 of these events and then get your free month for the 3rd event. So you get like a free 6 weeks of Viveport Infinity, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really amazing.
With that said, we come to our next reminder, which is this is the part of the show where we ask all of you to please take a moment of your time, along with us right now in real time, as we all go collectively and wish list a game. It could be one of the games that we talked about here today. It could be something else that you're interested in. But the reason we do this is to support the developers out there who are, giving us these amazing experiences that we all love. It's a very simple and quick thing to do, and it makes a huge difference to these games, especially with some of these smaller indie studios. It really raises the profile of their game. There's a reason why they continue to ask people to wish list and review. It's because it's a big deal for them. And again, it's something we can do very quickly and easily. And this week, I've already done it. Shock Troops, we talked about it a minute ago. We're very excited for Shock Troops coming this week. That is our wish list game. Be sure to let us know what you wish listed.
I was just saying, I just was doing that myself.
Nice. Anyway, I'm sorry. Awesome Tatum says Shock Troops and Tracery of Fate. So he wish listed both of them. Awesome. Thank you, Tate, for participating and sharing. Anyway, that's going to bring us into our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support our channel, our show, our community. Of course, the easiest thing you can do and the best thing you can do is make sure you're subscribed. But don't forget to ring the bell so that you can be notified each and every time we go live here on Virtual Strangers. But if you've already done that and you want to do a little something extra, $3 per month will get you into our Patreon rolls. And I'm sorry, something distracted me there. $3 per month, you can support us on Patreon. That will give you access to our weekly show notes. It'll give you access to exclusive content, insider updates, all for less than $1 per week. And you get to feel good about yourself, knowing that you did your part to help support our community and our channel. Our patrons are awesome. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we thank you. You guys are awesome. It's because of you that we're able to do this. And we very much appreciate it.
Yep.
Last but not least, of course, the Virtual Strangers Discord, which is where we live. It's where we hang out. It's where we talk. It's where we get together to play games, listen to music, what have you. It's a family atmosphere. We're all just kind of lurking 24/7 on there. So you can pretty much get a hold of us anytime you need to talk about something. And it's absolutely free. There's an invitation in the description down below. We invite you to join our community, and that is where we live. So just click the link down below, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, come home. We miss you.
Come on. Yeah. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For my friend Ruuts here, I'm Wes. We'll see you in a couple days. Bye.
Take it easy.